friends. Hi on Facebook, and good morning to you. G'day on Instagram. Happy Friday. It's Friday, the 27th of September. How has your week been? It is absolutely flown for me. It is the eve of grand final day here in Australia. G'day, Wayne. Great to have you here, champ. How are you? How's your week been? Just type in a word to let me know. Richard, great to have you tuning in, Richard. Where are you tuning in from, my friend? Our friends on Facebook can't see who's online yet, but it will show up soon. Taylor, great to have you here. Welcome. Thanks for joining on Rapid Fire Friday. G'day, Wayne. I hope you're all set to have a great long weekend. But for those in real estate, a lot of you are going to be working tomorrow. Maybe you're going to be preparing today for tomorrow. So what is Rapid Fire Friday for those of you who have just tuned in? Hey Gabe, great to see you tuning in here too. Hello to all of you who have tuned in so far on Facebook. So I'm a peak performance specialist. I work with real estate professionals and leaders just to really help them realize their results in the least amount of time. And that is my privilege. Hey Kate, can't wait to see and connect with you sooner than later. And really, it's just about getting clear about where do you want to be, where are you now, and let's reverse engineer a gap to get there. Now, I have the privilege as a coach to spend time with people every week, one-on-one in their businesses and in their lives. And so Rapid Fire Friday is where I just reflect on what were the key themes of coaching this week, and let me rapid fire some tips for I'm joining my friend. Always great to have you here and live. So let's get stuck straight into it so you can get out there and have a great day. We are 4 days, including today, away from ending the first quarter of the 2019-2020 financial year. So it's a theme for this week has been working with my clients to review and evaluate how they're tracking. Hey Dee, great to see you here too, my love. So let me ask you the first thing. Inside of the 6 empowered leadership practices, which is envision, engage, envision, engage, embody, empower, evaluate, and encourage, do you effectively evaluate your business? And how often? Have you stopped? Hey, Calmstar, good morning to you too. Have you stopped to review your targets for Q1 and how close are you? Are you close? Do you even know? Are you like, oh my God, has Q1 already, come and almost gone? So evaluation is really, really, really critical. And I want to share with you 5 steps that I see you can really effectively evaluate. Number 1, review your performance. First of all, did you actually have a target for the first quarter of the financial year? Did you set yourself a goal? Was it an expansion on the previous financial year, or did you just want to maintain what you achieved? So A, did you set a target? So when we come to review and evaluate, the first thing we want to do is review your target. How are you going? How are you tracking? We want to reflect. Are we hitting it or not? Did we miss it or not? And here's the key. In reflection, please don't make whatever result you have good or bad, right or wrong, because that's what's going to activate your ego. The best thing for you to do is definitely celebrate the success if you have success. But if you fell short, or way short from your Q1 projections, and you just start beating yourself up and cracking the whip, you're not going to set yourself up to powerfully enter Q2. So just ask, okay, what is there for me to learn here? Hey, Brendan, great to have you here. Speaking of performing well, you have been smashing your first quarter, mate. So congratulations. Hey, Haley, great to have you here too, my love. So when you're reviewing your performance, don't take it personally. Don't crack the whip. Definitely wave the wand, but get curious. Ask yourself, what is there to learn here? What could I have done better? What is this teaching me, and how can I revise it? So if you see me looking, I'm just looking at my notes. Review your performance, reflect on your progress, ask what there is to learn, revise your results. Now, if you fell short from hitting your targets for this first quarter of the financial year, you want to not just go, oh, well, didn't make it, next. You want to amortize the gap across the remaining 3 quarters to help you still achieve your end of financial year goal. So that just means whatever the gap was, if it was 100,000, either divide that figure by the next 3 quarters, or, do 20% additional for Q2 and another percentage for Q3 and 4 to give you a chance to build some momentum. Don't just write it off, because if you write it off, you're likely to fall short of your overall goal. Then you want to review your resources. So once you've reviewed your performance, reflected on what there is to learn, revise your future targets accordingly, you want to review your resources. What else do you need to systemize? What do you need to automate? Do you need to make yourself more dollar productive? Are you effectively using the CRM system? Are you using the resources that are available to you? G'day, Katrina. How are you, beautiful? Good morning to you. If you're watching this live, would you do me a favor and type in live? And if you watch the record, please type in record so I know when you're tuning in. And also, I'd love to hear from you. Just type in one word. How are you this Friday? How are you feeling? Amy Gray, g'day. Great to have you here. Well, you're feeling live. I'm glad. Katrina, just kidding. Welcome. Now, once you've reviewed, reflected, revised, checked your resources, you want to recommit. You want to then recommit to the next quarter and review what it's going to take and revise your activity, increase your efficiency of using the resources, or become more resourceful. If you didn't achieve your goals and you look at the reasons why, and they're resource-based like time, energy, money, or whatever, your job to win your game of Q2 is not to blame the resources and time and the market and things outside of your control. Your job is to become more resourceful with your time, with your energy, with the resources that you have. Does that make sense? Too many people waste a lot of time blaming things outside of their control, which keeps us disempowered and in a victim mentality. The best way for you to produce results is to become fully empowered, the master of your domain, and fully responsible for every action and reaction you have. So that's the top 5 tips for effectively evaluating. We are 4 days away from ending Q1 of 2019-2020 financial year, certainly here in Australia. Are you reviewing your performance? Are you reflecting on how you're going and not cracking the whip, but what am I learning? What is there to improve? Because the key to happiness is progress. Are you revising your targets for the rest of the financial year? And are you reviewing your resources to see what do you need to improve or implement? And then will you recommit? Will you recommit and give yourself the best chance to move forward and achieve results? So I want to hear from you. Do you have clear targets? If you don't, it's time to get some, right? Because you need to have a goal. You need to have a game. You need to have something you're trying to achieve. Do you need to review your performance more? Good morning, Jackie. Do you need to reflect? Hey, by the way, Greg, maybe if you're still here, my friend, could you type these words in? And I want to hear from you. What is the thing that you think you need to do to effectively evaluate? Hey, Dee, great to have you here. You've jumped on Instagram. Greg, could you please type in, or someone type in on Facebook and Instagram, the words review, reflect, revise, resources, and recommit. Review, reflect, revise, resources, and recommit, just so it's there. And I'd love, as I continue with this Rapid Fire Friday, for you, those of you who are watching, just to type in which one do you think you need to improve? Do you need to review? Do you need to reflect without cracking the whip and ask what you're learning? Do you need to revise your targets for the rest of the financial year so you can win your overall game? Do you need to make sure you're looking at your resources and changing them accordingly? And do you need to recommit? I'm really keen to hear from you. So if someone could do me a favor and type that in so we can all review that, that would be awesome. Now, inside of evaluating, this is the key theme for today, evaluating. One of the things that I learned from one of my clients is 2 directors that share 2 offices. Calmstar, you are a rock star. Thank you, buddy. Woohoo! High five to you. Review, reflect, revise, resources, recommit. Mwah. Calmstar, thank you. I really appreciate you writing that. Who's going to type it up on Facebook? Hey, Simone. Okay, review. You need to review. Awesome. Thank you. Now, what are you going to use to review your performance? And what are you going to do as a result? Thank you, Simone. Great to see you there. Now, so one of my clients, it became really clear to me because they told me in the session, I'm like, okay, so you've got 5 days, because the session was yesterday, 5 days to the end of the quarter. Do your team know where you're at? I think they're currently $57,000 or $67,000 shy from hitting their quarterly goal of $450,000. And I said, okay, so the stock that we've got available to sell this weekend over the next 5 days, if we sell it and we make it happen, how much is that going to add up to? And it would have well and truly got us to 450. And I said, so do your agents know the game that we have to play for the next 5 days? Greg, you're a superstar. Thank you, my friend. I love you. Thanks for your help. So for those of you who are tuning in on Instagram, have a look at CalmStars. Review, reflect, revise, resources, recommit. And Greg's written up the same thing. And just like Simone has, write down which one do you really need to do to effectively evaluate your performance of Q1. So anyway, what became apparent with this beautiful client was they haven't even shared their vision for the business for this financial year. Their team have no idea why they and the directors rock up to the 2 offices every day. There's no overarching vision and goal or financial game plan. They haven't shared it. And that was a shock to me. Without judgment, I was like, wow, guys, this is such a missed opportunity. So transparency just trumps secrecy every single time. Hey, Josh, revise. Nice. Josh, are you clear what the gap is for your performance for this financial year? And are you also just need to amortize then? What are you going to do for the next 3 quarters? You can split it evenly, or you can kind of scale it to not put too much pressure on yourself. Review and recommit. Nice, Amy. Good on you. Yeah. Now I'd love you to type in, okay, well, that's what you've got to do, but what's the specific action you're going to take? Like, I want you to get some real value out of today and take some action. So as I said before, transparency trumps secrecy every time. People love working towards a vision, and the best leaders are super transparent. They've let their team know what the hell we're showing up for every day. What's the game? Now listen, tomorrow we're going to watch 2 teams, by the way. If your team's in the good luck, if they win, whichever team is, we're going to watch 2 teams run around in shorts and kick a ball through posts. And it's a multi-gazillion dollar business that stops the nation, stops the world to a degree. And that's the game. Someone's going to win the premiership, and they've been working towards it all season. It's the same in business. You know, when we play games and we share the goal and we review and evaluate how we're playing each quarter, it really inspires our people to stay on track, and us. Do you know how many of my clients this week were like, you know, some were super clear of where they were tracking and others had lost track. And the ones that had lost track, they got quickly on track. The ones who were lost track of how they were going had fear and anxiety and concern elicited, right? Because they weren't sure how they were going. One particular client has a goal to make 500K this financial year. And when we reviewed and evaluated their business this week, they're actually on track, but they need an insurance policy. They need to land 2 more leads to have some insurance in case things don't happen in the days of market that they work on. So this is all the stuff you must know. So transparency trumps secrecy all the time. Think about the culture of Australian mines. When we do the Good Friday appeal and we raise funds for the Royal Children's Hospital, I have mentioned this before, but it's a really great analogy. When we're clear on how much we raised as a country for the Royal Children's Hospital the year before, here's what happens in the psychology of us. We want to beat it every year, don't we? We want to beat it. Now, whether you donate it or not, maybe you watch it and you get excited by the game. We want to beat it because the key to happiness is progress. So how can your people, how can your team, even if it's your assistant and if you're a 2-people operation, how can you get excited and how can you beat your goals if you don't even know what your goals are? So leaders watching this, please be transparent. Share with your team what the goals are. Essentially, the goals should be reverse engineered based on clarity of their goals. You should know what their goals are, and then you've built your financial game plan based on your team's goals and your recruitment and retention goals. Greg has put, need to reflect on what I've done and did it hit the mark. What do I need to do to attract better quality? Great. What better quality what? Better quality clients, better quality leads, better quality properties? I'd like to know, Greg, better quality what? So be transparent. Be transparent with your entire team about the end of year financial goal. Break it down to quarterly games, break it down to monthly games, and certainly you should have weekly and if not daily games. If you're a real estate agent, you've got to have a daily game, because that daily game becomes your daily flame that you need to fulfill. Because if you just have a big goal that you want to be $1 million agent in 365 days and you don't know what that daily flame is, as far as the daily flame is how many calls, how many connects, how many appraisals, how many listings, and therefore how many sales, you won't feel the heat of your dream because it's too far away. But the daily flame you'll feel. Make sense? So transparency trumps secrecy every time. Be transparent with yourself, and you must know what your target is. Have it as a screensaver. Have it as in your office. Have your targets, because when you have a vision, historical data indicates and scientific proof indicates, when you have a vision for your goals and your targets, a picture for it, you increase your chances of achieving it by 67%. So have a picture for that which you desire and keep focused on it and practice the 5 elements of review. Okay, now a resource to ensure that if you didn't hit your target, one of the best resources that you have to set you up for Q2 is time. And this is the thing that people complain and are disempowered around the most, in my humble experience as a coach. One of the greatest strategies to ensure you effectively use your time, my friends, it's not rocket science, you've heard it a gazillion times before, is an ideal week. Now, an ideal week is just essentially reverse engineering your time to make sure that you do what matters most, when it matters most. And it's an opportunity to make sure that you've got all the elements of time taken care of. Your personal time, like getting up, for me this morning, getting up and practicing savers, silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading and scribing my gratitude journal, taking that time out to set me up in state so I can be of service to others. Do you do that? Do you invest time in you, or do you wake up and within 30 seconds you're swiping up and down and left and right and using the prime real estate of your mind to make small, low quality decisions? That peak time in the morning when you wake up, whatever you do with that time will really set your energy and tone for the day. By the way, to set yourself up for Q1, if you are struggling to get up out of bed in the morning, practice Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. It's a great book, an audio book, the 5-second rule. It's where when we count, instead of hitting snooze and sleeping in and pulling the doona over, your eyes wake up when the alarm goes off or you get up, and you say to yourself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pull the doona back. Because counting down, and the book explains the biology and physiology of this and the psychology of it, everything else with ology. The act of counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 shifts the activity from your subconscious brain, which is all kind of past opinions, judgments, assessments, and dysfunctionality. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 shifts it around to your neocortex and your high quality conscious brain that makes decisions. So when you count down, you shift the activity physically in your brain from the back to the front, which means you will move forward. You'll make better decisions. Does that make sense? If you haven't listened to the book or read it, I really invite you to. So that's a great way. Now, Simone, key to happiness is progress. It really is. Whether you lose a kilo, whether you go on a date night, whether your kids, have a great play, whether you win that listing, whether you grow each quarter, we've got to progress. But if we don't evaluate, how do we know if we're progressing? Thank you for capturing that. Bring your people along. You can't bring your people along if it's a secret, Greg. Exactly. Transparency beats secrecy every time. And Amy says, need more savers. Yes. Savers is a lifesaver, sets you up for a miracle morning. As Hal Elrod, the author, put, if that's sounding like foreign language to you, here's one we prepared earlier. This is the best way that I know as a peak performance coach to set you up for an amazing day and an amazing life. Savers. Silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing. The best way to start your day, whether you do it for 6 minutes or 60 minutes. This will alter your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state to a degree you can't even imagine. So get into that now, I recommend. Now, back to the ideal week. So your ideal week is about reverse engineering your time to make sure you're in the business and on the business activity is taken care of. Your health and investing in yourself, your relationships, your family and friends, it's all taken care of. And it's an ideal week. It's not set in stone. If you create an ideal week and you set your time and block your time and you have it all planned as a guide that you can manipulate every now and then. By the way, whoever's watching this, can you type in on Instagram and Facebook, do you have an ideal week and do you use it? Because people often say, oh, they don't work. Of course they work. We don't work. They work, but they have to be worked, meaning you can't just have it and not use it. You have to have it and use it and revise it as you go. So an ideal week is typically where you have a sheet of paper. I've got a template if you want it. If you want the template, just say yes to template, please, and we'll make sure we get it to you, or I'll add it to my bio link in Instagram. And if you're watching this on Facebook and you want the ideal week template I give to my clients, just say yes to ideal week template. It's just about, as I said before, allocating your time, doing what you need to do when it matters most and when it happens. The best thing that I love about an ideal week is you don't have to think. You can set your ideal week up on the Sunday night, like revise it specifically with the projects you need to use. You've got your base ideal week, which kind of never changes because you know what you need to do. Yes to ideal week. Yeah, good. Amy, no problem, love. I'll drop the link in here after this. Who else wants a copy? You allocate your time. And then when you show up in your week, you don't have to think about it. Hey, Jasmine, great to have you here. Calmstar, I have a flexible ideal week, although be keen to see your template, please. You're very welcome. And Calmstar's yes to ideal week. Thanks. I'll absolutely drop it into my bio link. So look out for that. So the best thing I find about an ideal week is you can just show up in your week and you don't have to think about what you have to do. It's taken care of. That means you just follow your calendar and you can be present, fully immersed and devoted to the activity you're doing at the time, which means you can give great potency and progress to your performance rather than stressed about what you haven't done, worried about what you've got to do, not really present in the moment and from your personal. Week really is about planning your time to achieve what matters most. I have an ideal week. I have it color-coded with my personal, my business, my family activity. And then I have a day planner, which is analog. I'm old school. I like to have my day actions written in here in 2 columns, business column and then personal column, because I love just to tick those off at the end of the day. And I also prepare my week on a Sunday night. I look at what are the key projects. One of the reasons why we often feel deflated is because we overpromise and undercommit. We just give ourselves too much to do. One of the things I'm also going to instigate in this next week is a simple template for Instagram and Facebook where you can review on what games you won for the week, so you celebrate your success and have that Pavlov's dog response where you are training yourself to go, I am taking action. Because often we're too busy looking forward at what we haven't done and getting stressed, and we don't celebrate the little and big things that we have done. And I know for myself, whenever I do that, I'm like, look at all the stuff I've done. I've done heaps. Okay, who else does that, by the way? Do you know you do that too? Do you not celebrate the little things and reflect on what you did? So I'm going to have some simple templates that you can use to go, yeah, what were the games I won last week, and what was the biggest lesson, and what are my 3 main focuses this week? What are the 3 things I'm just going to achieve? And listen, as we said, and as Simone captured, the key to happiness is progress. When we are tracking our progress, we feel like we are performing and winning at our game. Hey Lou, great to have you here, my friend. So an ideal week is critical to progress. It's about reverse engineering your time to meet all the elements of working in and on your business and taking care of your health and your social life as well. It is critical, and as a coach, all my clients use it to the best of their ability, and it's often being refined. Finally, I want to leave you with a story from one of my clients and around the theme of why widening your focus from survival to expansion is critical. A friend of mine has a business and they're struggling. I don't coach them formally, but they're a close friend, so I try to lend some advice where I can. And here's what we discovered. They're struggling because their focus each month has been on breaking even. It's a fairly new business to them, and they're fairly new at running business, although they've been a solopreneur for the last 20 odd years. So they're struggling to make money and struggling to make ends meet. And what we established was their focus was absolutely on breaking even. So their experience was, Tange, we make this money and then we've got to pay rent in an expensive location in Melbourne and all that money's gone and then we start again. And that's what the cycle is. And here's the coaching I gave. And I think I've shared this before, but it dropped in for me today to share again, just to encourage you to widen your focus from survival to expansion, because it's really important to widen the lens. Where attention goes, energy flows. So if you're only focused, if you're a business owner or a solopreneur, on breaking even, guess what's likely to happen every month? You're just going to break even. So the request I made of my friend, I said, listen, you have a full, g'day Dean, great to have you here. You have a full week where Monday to Friday, there are 3 time slots for your clients to book in. I want you to work out what's the maximum money you will earn in your business if each of those 3 slots from Monday to Friday are full capacity, like maxed out, right? Then you have the weekend trade where you can do 4 events on a Saturday and 4 events on a Sunday. Work out what the max capacity earning is and then add them up. Essentially, if your business is maxed out every week, all sessions booked out, no, can't fit any more people in your business, what's the maximum, what's the revenue you'll earn? So I had them do that exercise. And what they did was widen their lens. And I said, now you've got to start asking better quality questions of how can I make that happen? What marketing activity, customer experience activity do I need to do to max out full capacity? Because that's the maximum amount that I can earn in my business. And I ask you to do the same. The theme I spent with my clients this week was looking at, what is maxed out for you and your time? And when is that time where you're going to need some resources, whether they're virtual assistants, additional electronic or app resources, or a human resource to sit by your side and help you win your game for the next quarter and beyond. So widen your focus from survival to thriving, from surviving to expansion, and ask better quality questions of how could I achieve that? And your brain will start looking for better quality answers. Does that make sense? So I hope you got some value out of this. We uncovered there's 4 days to go to the end of the quarter. Are you clear about where you're at in the game? And are you going to practice the 5 evaluate steps of review, reflect, revise, resources, and recommit? Which one do you need to take and what specific action? Transparency trumps secrecy every time. Make sure you are clear about your goals, and so are your team. Because like I was saying before, every year on the Good Friday appeal, Australia gets behind smashing their fundraising goal because we want to progress, as Simone captured. We want to make sure that the next year is always better than this year, that tomorrow is brighter than yesterday, that now is better than before. It's just progress. We're hardwired for that. Ideal week is critical to success because the greatest commodity you have to make your games, to win your games, is time. So what are you doing with your time? Do you know how much time you are wasting? One of my clients, I learned yesterday, has since set a 25-minute timer on Instagram scrolling so they don't waste too much time. I'd like you to evaluate your social media activity at the end of the week. Have a look at the activity in your phone and then ask yourself, what could you do with that time? And then finally, as I said, expand or widen your focus from survival to expansion and progress and growth, and ask better quality questions. If you need a hand to do any of these actions, you're so welcome, Amy. Tell me, Amy, what was the #1 thing you got for yourself today? And if you're on Instagram, type in, thanks, Brendan, what's the thing that you got today? What's the thing that resonated with you? What's the one thing that you are going to implement or reflect on? I'd really love to know. It'll help me evaluate what's making a difference. Good morning, Mr. Fitzgerald. Great to have you here. Happy Friday. So type in what's the thing that you got that made a difference that you're going to implement. Hey, Louise Elizabeth, great to have you tuning in too. So if you want some support to evaluate the performance of your first quarter, and you want to help reverse engineer a plan to achieve your game in the next 3 quarters, and you need a hand, please, if you're on Instagram, thanks beautiful Rod, jump onto my bio and book yourself in a complimentary 30-minute discovery session. They're valued at $250, and I'll help you get clear so you can focus on what matters. Reviewing with our team and ensuring that our goals are not a secret. Yay, awesome. You instantly make me smile, Rob. Mwah. You too, brother. I love just seeing your name here. Unreal, Calm Star. Please do that. By the way, leaders that are watching this, the quarter finishes in 4 days. So when you have your team meeting next week, make sure you're using that team meeting to say, hey, there's 4 quarters in the game, just like the AFL Grand Final. Quarter one's happened. Here's the game. Here's how we played. What did we learn? What are we revising? What are we reviewing? Let's reflect. Let's revise. Let's check in on our resources, and let's recommit for the best Q2 of this, of this season. Amy saying here, better planning and reviewing where I'm at. Excellent. Do me a favor, guys. When you do review your performance, less whip, more wand. Don't beat yourself up for what you haven't done. Start celebrating what you have done. Take responsibility and become more resourceful. So if you need a hand, book in your complimentary discovery session. And if you're on Facebook, just go on to TMJ Coaching and you can book in your complimentary discovery session on the homepage there as well. I'm here for you. Why I do this is I want you to be happy and live a deeply fulfilling life. Life is short. It goes like that, right? So let's play flat out and leave the pitch a little sweaty and bruised, giving it our best shot. I'll be back live for Mindset Mastery Monday. If you have a particular issue, challenge, concern, something that's stopping or blocking you, and you need a raft, you need a hand, send me your question and I will answer it on Monday in the Mindset Mastery Monday session. I won't say your name, I won't say where you're from, it's completely confidential. Okay, if you got something out of this and you think someone else will, please tag them or share it. That's the currency I love, and I wish you a beautiful weekend. Have an amazing day for if your team is playing tomorrow for the final or the end late grades of Maya Angelou. Remember, people will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Do something today to make yourself and those around you, whether in person or online, feel great, feel like they matter. Calm Star, I'm grateful for you too. Thanks for choosing to spend your quality time with me, friends. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I love you. I love you. I love you. Go well.